welcome to my channel. It's your host, That Boy Retro. Today I want to take you guys back in time to the mid to late 90s and early 2000s. Today I want to take you guys back to the legendary MSN era. MSN was one of the first social media apps to take off, which allowed us 80s and 90s babies to connect. At this time in life, internet was just beginning to take off, and it was the first time ever that all of us kids were able to communicate in such a fast and simple way. That is without phones, of course. If you grew up during the MSN era, you're definitely a top G, as Andrew Tate would say. You'd be sitting in class getting ready to ask your crush for her MSN ID, and you had to be equipped with a pen and paper because MSN was all about having the most outrageous IDs. It was low-key embarrassing giving out your ID if a girl asked for it, because chances are she was gonna laugh at you for what you chose as your ID. Honestly, I think that's what kind of made MSN so memorable too, is our usernames. They were honestly just so creative and crazy if you think back on them. Like, what were we even thinking, you know? And it wasn't even just the young kids who had weird and outrageous names for their MSN IDs, it was even the older generation. When you first logged into MSN, this is what you would see. It was a little bit overwhelming. You had all your contacts' names, you had weird quotes going on, you had emojis everywhere, you had people taking their songs. But honestly, looking back at this picture, this just makes me feel some type of way. It brings back a huge rush of just memories and all sorts of weird feelings, but all good feelings. And I don't know, it really does take me back to the early 2000s and late 90s. It makes me miss that whole time in life. The emojis of MSN. Honestly, I think this was the first time we were able to communicate with each other using emojis. It was fun, it was exciting, and I was just so fascinated by this. I was very impressed. I don't know if it's because I was young or what the deal was, but I was like, man, this is so cool. Like, I can talk to my friends using these weird pictures and stuff to express how I feel. And for some reason, you always tried to remember the code for the emojis. Instead of just clicking on the emoji, you wanted to learn how to memorize the entire chart here, like just so you could be quick with it or cool with it. I don't know what the deal was, but I remember it being a thing, being able to remember the code for the emojis. This is what everybody's setup used to look like back in those days, you know, all white computer. For some reason, everyone had a Dell mouse, even though they didn't go with your PC. You had the chewed up or ripped up mouse pad, the wavy looking keyboard, you know, it brings back memories. This was a setup back in the day. It's hard to believe, you know, looking at it now, it's like, oh, that's so ugly. I was just a wee lad, you know, when I started using MSN, around the same age as the kid in the picture right here. But I think we all were young when we were using MSN, and we were already spitting game to girls, you know. Kids nowadays, they don't do that. They wait until they're like in high school or grade 7 or 8. I was in grade 2 and I was already backing on girls on MSN. I was slick with it too back then, you know, probably listening to Sugar, thinking of some heartfelt message to send. Brings back memories, you know. I was a top G since day one. The webcam of that era. Honestly, I think everyone had the same webcam. It's crazy how easy I was able to find this picture online, but this is the exact same webcam that I had. And it was the worst when you're chilling on MSN, just trying to talk to a girl or whatever, right? And she's with her friend and they're like, hey, why don't you come on cam? And then you're just nervous because you're like, oh god, like I gotta go on cam now, you know. And 95% of the time the camera didn't even work. It was so hard to get this thing to work. And once it finally did, you know, you'd hop on, you'd be standing there like an idiot while one or two girls is on the other end acting like fools. But man, that was a vibe, you know. Like I said, we've been flexing since day one. Unfortunately, the MSN era slowly started to come to an end when apps such as MySpace and Facebook came into play. People slowly started drifting away from MSN to the point where MSN had to shut down its doors. MSN disappeared into the abyss, and now here we are in 2022, and it feels like that whole era was something out of a different dimension or a different universe. It's almost as if the MSN era never even existed in the first place. To finish off this video, I just want to say the MSN era was legendary, and there will never be anything like it. Yes, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat are all a part of our lives now, but they will never compare to all the memories we had with MSN. Life was just different back then. If you were alive during the MSN peak and the whole MSN era, be happy and thankful, because I know I am. That's it for today. Like always, please feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.